No arrest has been made.
On July 23, 1988, next to the old Phillips 66 station on East Center Street, Norma Jean Sally Edwards was found beaten to death.
Right now we're conducting interviews and re-interviewing people.
Edwards' body was found inside a 1947 Kaiser automobile that was among many abandoned cars frequently used by the homeless as a place to sleep or drink.
Officers that responded found her slumped across from the front passenger to the front driver's side. Her head had been severely beaten.
What was the motive for her death? Was she a random victim of violence, or was she in fact targeted for a brutal murder?
With a vicious beating like that, I mean, that has to be something personal.
Edwards had spent the night before her death drinking with 3 men at a home on Dell Street. According to them, sometime in the early morning hours, she left that home. Now, according to the interviews found in her case file and statements of the 3 men who last saw Edwards alive, Edwards said her boyfriend was being released from jail that morning and she was going to meet him. They claim they never saw her again. Edwards' boyfriend, James Gooden, was quickly questioned. He had reportedly beaten Sally Edwards before, and he was known to have a violent temper and a lengthy rap sheet. Those involved in the case speculated that Gooden was angry with Edwards about her involvement with the 3 men on Dell Street. Gooden, however, passed multiple polygraph tests.
I even gave him a polygraph, just a few years ago.
But something else about her murder attracted the attention of investigators. Blood was spread throughout the home on Dell Street, and a bloody wooden cane was found inside. The 3 men living there told investigators the blood was theirs, saying it wasn't out of the ordinary for them to drink heavily and take turns hitting one another with the cane. Without modern forensics at that time, there was no DNA match to Sally Edwards, and another dead end for investigators. Investigators tell me they do not believe that wooden cane was used to beat Edwards to death.
Something that caused the wounds on her head had to be something heavy and actually thinner than that cane.
The Kingsport Police Department recently sent DNA collected at the time of the murder for forensic analysis that wasn't available to them in 1988. But that DNA was found to be too deteriorated to test.
She was a very sweet lady, and she never bothered anybody. I've known Miss Ann ever since I was a little child.
She was described as a kind, gentle lady, someone who would lend a hand to anyone in need, a dedicated employee of Holston Valley Medical Center, and someone with no enemies. But on July 28, 1994, 67-year-old Ann Elizabeth Heath was brutally murdered. Around 1 a.m., police rushed to 101 Tennessee Street, Apartment C. Heath had been found by her boyfriend, lying dead in the hallway of her home.
We're doing interviews in the neighborhood, trying to develop suspects and trying to arrive at a motive.
Heath had been reportedly bludgeoned in the head, the murder weapon unknown.
At first, we believed that someone had broken in the sliding glass door to her apartment. She lived on the ground floor, but that's not the case any longer.
Police say the crime scene had been staged.
Whoever entered that apartment either had a key or was allowed in.
Investigators discovered the sliding glass door, staged by the suspect to look like the entry point, was secured with an object that would have prevented that door from opening from the outside. Police turned their investigation to people who would have had access to Heath's apartment. Ann Heath had lived in the Tennessee Street apartments, then moved away. When she returned to town, she moved back into that complex. But the second-floor unit she had previously rented was occupied, so she moved into apartment C on the ground floor. That unit had been painted by a tenant prior to Heath moving in, and that tenant still had a key to apartment C.
My theory that he used the key thinking that Miss Heath was at work to enter her apartment and to try to locate anything valuable.
There was some evidence there at the time that we just didn't have the capability of doing anything with. But now, with DNA testing and things of that nature, it's our hopes that we could certainly be pointed in the right direction.
Kingsport police say at the time they just didn't have enough to prosecute. But now, with new forensic science testing, they feel strongly retesting some of the old evidence will finally bring a killer to justice.
There's a very good chance that the individual that committed this murder may very well be watching this interview, and so we are actively working on this case.